And we're live, everybody. How are you guys doing? Da-da-da! I wish I could sing, but I can't. I know it's awful, right? Awful, I tell you.
Sorry,
Awful.
I just got like freezing randomly.
You know what? It is freezing randomly in here. It's randomly freezing. So today, as people are getting ready to jump online because they're all rushing to watch us.
I know they have to. This is such a good time
Right?
today.
You're all rushing to watch us, all you zero people. And so...
Oh, let me open this on here so you can
Yeah.
see.
So people are going to be starting to jump on soon, and we're going to be talking about magazines, the rise and fall of the printed material. And I've had a couple of people actually respond to the ad that I put out about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, someone talked about how their parents kept all of certain magazines and stuff like that.
Oh,
And
nice.
it's always cool to go back and check.
And if you're that commenter, I hope you're watching today because we're going to be giving some good facts.
Yes, and we got two jumping on. So, I know they're all rushing. They're all running and running and running to try to get on, right?
Mine never tells me. Yours is gonna. You're gonna see it first before.
Is
I
it
do.
you? Oh, then maybe that's you then. No, there's two people. So hopefully somebody else is watching. So we're going to be talking about magazines and the rise and fall of the printed material.
Heck yeah.
And why you will find a lot of magazines in vintage and antique stores like you do here. Because the magazine is a thing of the past.
Unfortunately.
Which is good because, good in a way, I have to say. Ooh, somebody didn't like that. They jumped off. Which is good in a way because we're saving trees.
Yeah.
And we need more oxygen as possible, right?
And everything's
So who
switching
was
over
that?
to ebooks.
David jumped on.
What's up, David?
Well, hello, David. Hopefully more people will jump on soon. So we'll give it a minute before we delve into
Sure.
information. I keep turning my back on you guys. Yeah, I saw you, David. How are you doing? You indeed ran. As everybody should be tripping over everything in their house
And
to get
stopping
to their...
everything.
But
to
then
watch
you know
the
what?
show.
Everybody has it in their hand already. So why are you tripping over anything?
That and how come you're already not watching our live?
I know. You should be on already.
Because I know Facebook
Anyways,
sent you a notification.
people are coming.
So
So
Vintage is live.
printed material, the rise and fall of printed material. And can you get magazines today? You can on some. On some you cannot. You have to get them online only.
Uh huh.
We're going to a digital world.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder what we're going to look at when all the power goes out.
Unless you have a Kindle, literally nothing.
And it's charged.
Yep, and it's charged for sure.
So anyways, we've been having a lot of, well, hello. I can't read who that is. I'm sorry. I'd like to say hello. Oh, it's still all David. Just us chatting away. So hopefully Steve will step on soon. My mom will step on soon, jump on soon. So anyways, we've talked about we're talking about magazines. We're talking about the different types of magazines. And we're going to talk about some cool magazines.
Heck yeah.
So trust me, you want to stay on. Like High Times, and just to name a few.
Yeah,
High Times,
literally.
Playboy, Life Magazine.
Times, Eries.
Times, Eries, Mad
National
Magazine.
Lampoon.
So it's worth listening to because I know all of us have those at home. But we're going to hit you with some facts first, and then we're going to talk about different things. So
Oh, yeah.
take it away, Jasmine.
Woohoo! So I know a lot. We just went over on the fact that magazines are unfortunately on the decline and that they are on the fall. But let's talk about a couple of reasons why, unfortunately, that's happening, and we can take a little bit further depth. So cost is a major one.
On what?
On printing magazines.
Oh,
and
yeah, cost
publishing
is a big one.
magazines. So reason why, unfortunately, magazines are going away is just cost. It costs way more to hire models, publishers, the lights, the soundtracks, the writers, all of that, just to put out a magazine that unfortunately half of the world is going to
Yeah.
buy. And then also, in second place running, we have online media, Facebook, OnlyFans, Twitter. All of those are number one photo and photography things that are sucking away the life of magazines.
Which then you won't get the fabulousness like that.
That, yeah.
Like this. Like Sharon Greg Ullman. Oops, over here. Sharon Greg Ullman.
And the last one, taking third place, is going to be television. Television stole readers and advertisers that resulted in the circulations of magazines in the late 1960s and early 1970s is when it kind of started to take the play of adult, gaming, entertainment, and a little bit of news.
Yes, she's absolutely 100% correct. And I got to tell you, some of the, so back in the 70s and the 60s and 70s.
Why don't you just push that and then you'll have room.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea. So back in the 60s and 70s, when we would watch TV, because TV did take over, these were the magazines we read.
Oh, yeah.
These were the only magazines that we read, which were TV guides all the time, right? Hey, Steve.
Flip that TV guide back over
Which
more
one?
time. The Madonna.
Oh, because cigarette ads?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about those too. But look at that living room set.
And okay, you guys, look at this. Hold on. Look at this entire living room set, and this is the key part. Only $18 a month, a total of $600 for all 8 pieces.
Yep. We live in a society that's much different today.
The couch itself
Okay.
is $600.
This is 1985 too. And it's Robert Blake, who we just passed.
R.I.P.
Yeah. So go on. Sorry, I just keep showing
Oh, no,
as you
it's
talk
okay.
about it.
But those are actually really, really great pieces because 2 reasons. I can't believe that 8-piece furniture set is
I know.
$600. We're going to be talking
And
about
that's
that
85.
That's crazy.
When I was 15.
And then the other part is how Jason touched base on the cigarette advertising. Those, he did bring that to light for me. I never really noticed until just now. There's no advertising for cigarettes.
Cannot.
And there's little to no advertising for alcohol that does not pertain to liquor. Because
Right.
fun fact, Jason also taught me a few minutes ago, that liquor is a luxurious item. So they don't put that in the same category.
Well, they put it in the same category as liquor.
Yes.
That they do. But when it comes to advertising, it's more liberal for them to be able to advertise to liquor because it's more special event driven
Sure.
than beer.
Sure. Where
So,
beer's drinking all
But
the time.
you will never see liquor on the side of the freeway
Oh, yeah, no.
because you can't do that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because the Marlboro Man was everywhere.
Yeah.
Marlboro
everybody
Man
loves
was
Marlboro Man.
everywhere.
Okay, awesome. So now that we kind of talked about why, unfortunately, magazines are on the decline, now let's talk about, if some of our viewers are here, if I bring up a name, I want you to let me know in the comments what your favorite one is.
Yes, so pay attention, everybody.
So starting with, we are going to jump back a little bit further. in the
And if I
timeline.
have it, I will pull it up and show.
Heck yeah. Okay, so we have all of our good
Yep.
ones here. So, to start off, magazines started way before 1950. This is just the chart on when magazines started to become a staple in multi people's lives.
Fun fact, and this isn't my.
Did you know?
Did you know? Fun fact. Magazines became more widely spread after the printing press
Boom.
in
Okay.
1440.
And that's very important, you guys, to remember that. So, starting in 1950, just to name a few, the top magazines in 1950 were Look, the Saturday Evening Post, and Men's Adventure.
I don't have any of those,
Yeah, these are all
but we do have had posts.
Yes.
We have had posts.
And a lot of these are sought after magazines that a lot of people, if you grew up with these and we have them, you're going to be looking for that.
Post magazine.
That's a big magazine.
Yes, that's how life was back then.
Now let's compare the two, a regular magazine and then a Post magazine.
And to life, because lives were like these. Too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So, magazine size difference. Here, this is a more modern one. This is the Post. The Post, this one is actually, she just did this, 1959.
Dang.
So, this is right along the lines of what you're talking about in the
Yep.
1950s.
Yep.
So, come get your Post.
And then moving on to 1960, we have the New York, the Vital Speeches of the Day. Those were the only 2 top ones in 1960.
Yeah, I don't have those.
In 1970, we have Billboard.
Ah! Billboard.
And again, look how big. Show them the back of
Again,
that.
big.
The back
Big.
of that is beautiful.
Look at this. It's the Who.
That's a cool.
It's Billboard. Who better be on it? This one is 1982. I was 12.
Ah, nice.
Yep. So that would explain why the Who.
So,
Right.
quick question, Jason,
Yeah.
about when they made magazines this big. Did they
Only certain ones were made this big.
Did they ever include posters?
No. Well, some maybe, but not Billboard. Not all magazines from the 50s and 60s were this big.
Okay.
Okay, so these were more your entertainment magazines that
Sure.
were this big. And they wanted them this big because it was like a newspaper.
Newspaper,
So when you
yep.
sat at the table,
It covered like your whole.
yeah, it was very newspaperish.
Gotcha. Alrighty, so still touching base with 1970. This is my favorite, and we will talk about this later on in the show. Black World and Negroes Digest and Boys Life.
Okay, so I thought we had some more of the Ebony, which is what Black Negro became.
Yep, that's what it turned. They had multiple names over the last
one
few
of
years.
theirs.
Yep.
But I sold them all. I looked all through there for one, and I sold them all.
It's again, I said this earlier, it's one of those things that are sought after because even myself, when I was looking online to try to find one, they're in the triple digits, so it's not something that a lot of people just have chilling in their attic.
One of the things I thought was cool was you talked about Black Digest.
Uh-huh.
So Black Digest, which was made in the style of Reader's Digest,
Uh-huh.
but focus more on the Black culture.
Positive
Black
stories, yes.
Positive stories and Black culture. I'm sure there was learning and
Sure,
things in
absolutely.
there. But it took 20 years for them to do that.
Literally, it took 20 years because you also have to keep in mind when Reader's Digest came out, they didn't want to look at it and automatically be like, this is only pertained to a specific type of demographic, let's make ours. They needed to make sure that they could do it in a way where it was comfortable, they didn't disrespect the other brand, and that the author of Reader's Digest was
Right,
cool with it.
which I thought was cool.
Heck yeah.
And Reader's Digest, which came out in 1922. Reader's Digest came out in 1922, and you can still find those today online.
You said it was what, 1922? Yep, because yep, that's true. Because then by November 1942 is when this dropped.
Yep. So that's 20 years, and then they decided, oh well, there's other people that live in this world besides white people. So they decided to do the. Although, if you look at it, the Reader's Digest. No, I'm thinking of National Geographics because they span a bunch of different cultures. But I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome, especially when I was researching this morning. When I just typed in like Reader's Digest, this came in the category with it. I thought that it was really cool that the internet pertains the two together.
Now, did they do the Black Digest in the smaller form like they did the Reader's Digest?
Fun fact that you taught me earlier. So, the Negro's Digest was the first word, and then it moved over to Black World. Both of those were standard size magazines until
Ebony.
Yes, because John H. Johnson then created Ebony, which was the pocket-sized.
Which is the size of a Reader's Digest.
Yes.
It's the smaller one.
Yep.
And Reader's Digest, which was considered a pocket magazine.
Yep, so you can keep it in your pocket or your purse or
same
your shirt
with
pocket.
the Ebony, which was considered a back pocket magazine that they would carry in their back pocket.
Heck yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool because they were, and I'm going to tell you, when you talk about Reader's Digest and you talk about Negro Digest or even Ebony, well, not Negro's Digest because that was a full-size magazine.
It was, yeah.
I
still feel like it still had the same amount of pages though.
Well, it did, but Ebony was smaller, this size.
Yes.
So we're talking about this size when we're talking about the smaller magazines with Reader Digest. And a lot of kids, that are 30 and younger don't even know what a Reader's Digest is.
And when they hear somebody talk about that, they're like, Reader's Digest? What am I reading and digesting?
Right. Well, you're digesting the words on the page.
Right.
So, what else do you got?
To finish this off on this little timeline, we have 1980, which is Out Magazine, Cosmopolitan, Smash Hits, and Just 17, which we have one of those.
Okay.
Actually.
So, and Just 17 is also an Elle magazine.
This is 16, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's like almost the same thing.
Almost the same kind of aspect. And you said it was called Just 17 in the 80s?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a play on 17 magazine, which came out in 1944. Can you believe that? 17 magazine. 17 magazine came out in 1944. So the magazines were the only way you were going to see a lot of product that were coming around because of the advertising in them.
Uh-huh.
So, how do you advertise to the American housewife is if they're looking at magazines or you have a magazine in front of them, then you can fill it full of goods. And that's a great way to advertise to American housewife or to the children, hence 17 magazine, to get the father at the time to buy them or the mother to buy them what they wanted.
And then it gets the housewife to read it, and then all the pretty colors and pictures gets handed to the child right afterwards.
Yep,
and
then
it's recycled over and over.
Yep. So they had to go through that format back then. What else do you got? Is it my turn?
Last one, 1990,
Okay.
which this takes a complete turn in the entertainment world because magazines for children started to take the storm, which was Disney Adventure, American Girl, Sassy, and Tiger Beat.
And American Girl Sassy is based off the American Girl doll.
Yes.
Yeah, so they created a whole world around her because, they couldn't have Barbie have everything.
I opened this, and all of these boy bands, their birthday is like right now.
Oh, that's hilarious. Andy Williams.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. They're not all boy bands, though. They're all, some of them are individual.
His birthday was 2
Marlon
days
Jackson's
ago.
boy band.
Jay Osmond.
Boy band.
Look how good his teeth are.
Andy Williams, boy band. So they are all boy bands. So anyways, I'm going to do my Did You Know?
Yes.
Because let's talk about Did You Know? And I'm going to talk about the ever so famous Playboy magazine. Okay, which we're gonna, and look, those who like 80 for Brady, there's one of your girls. That's Sally Field. And even though, first of all, before I talk about my Did You Know, if a famous star is on the cover of a Playboy, 9 times out of 10, she does not have a nude outlay.
No
It's
problem.
just the information on her. It would have to be a Playboy bunny to have a nude spread. But did you know that Marilyn Monroe, who appeared on the very first Playboy in 1953, it came out in 1953, it ended in 2000, or 2020, I'm sorry, it ended in 2020. It's still available online. But the very first cover photo was Marilyn Monroe with the spread in 1953 of nude photos by Marilyn Monroe. So Marilyn then appeared on 4 additional covers throughout Playboy's history. However, the fun fact to that is Marilyn Monroe has never, ever posed for Playboy.
Shocking.
She never once posed for Playboy. So,
that issue's probably untouchable, David.
well, if you can even find it.
That's
because
what I'm saying, like,
the very first Playboy was not done in a printed bound magazine. It was more like a...
like a single sheet paper?
No, it was they did it themselves.
Oh, yes. It was
Yeah.
like paper.
Yeah, it was like paper. So finding one of those is next to impossible. If you can, let's talk. So,
He has a really good question that you
what's
might want
that?
to answer. So how did he get her nude photos?
I'm about
then?
to explain. So, in 1949, 1950, Marilyn Monroe posed for a photographer named Tom Kelly.
And why did she pose?
She
for that?
posed for this and allowed him to take photos of her nude because she needed $50 for her car payment. So, a way to get paid so that she could pay her car payment, she posed nude. And so Tom Kelly, the photographer, paid her the $50. She was able to make her car payment, and
She went
the
about her
rest
day.
is legend.
Right.
So, Hugh Hefner and Tom Kelly were friends. So when Tom Kelly told Hugh Hefner, when Hugh Hefner told Tom Kelly he was about to put out the first Playboy,
Tom
he said,
Kelly
"Oh, I
said,
have these photos."
"Look at this."
And so Hugh Hefner bought the photos from Tom Kelly and put her on the cover and put him in it and put the magazine out.
And never said anything to her.
Never said
though.
a word to her about it.
It was just like her own terms to find it out.
Yep. Another fun fact about her, she never even met Hugh Hefner in her entire life.
Imagine.
She's never, and this is based on the research that I've gone through. Marilyn Monroe felt that being associated with Playboy would be detrimental to her career because she was already looked at as a sex symbol and somebody who was not very smart when she was extremely smart. She felt that by being okay with being in a Playboy magazine or with being associated with any way would just enhance that dumb blonde stigma
that they were also giving her, which was
so they
crazy.
never met. Can you believe that? They never even met. And they used her photo several other times, and by the 60s she was a superstar, and it was any press is good press.
Good press. So she just said, "Screw it, drop the whole
Yeah,
lawsuit."
well, I don't know how strong that was to begin with.
Sure.
Back then, I'm not 100% sure on the laws. But, yeah, she never once posed for Playboy, and she is known as the quintessential Playboy cover model.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't done sufficient research on this to know if it's true, but she was labeled plus size.
She
at
was.
one point.
And so there were quite a few people were back then because of their curves.
Sure.
Because your standard housewife was pretty much a 10-year-old boy today.
So literally.
And if you had curves, then you were considered plus size.
So, do you feel that kind of gave Playboy a boost in the
It
running
could've.
because
I have no idea.
she was considered like plus size?
No.
This was like an exclusive
No,
photo.
because I don't think they looked at it as plus size because
Sure.
the guys who looked at Playboy didn't look at it as plus size, thin.
Right, sure.
They looked at her, saw the hourglass figure, saw the big top and the big bottom, and was like, "Who is that?"
This is it, yeah.
You know
For
what I mean?
sure, yeah.
So I don't know if it was, and it was different from what they saw every day at home.
Steve said they were afraid it would ruin her career. When the press asked if she had anything on the photograph, one photograph she said yes, the radio.
Yes. And another thing that we found out during this research.
And then he also said her plus size years were later. Thank you. For
Oh, were they
correcting.
later? Her curviness is what drove the women nuts about the men following her and the women crazy over wanting her.
Wanting her, sure.
So, but one of the other fun facts about Marilyn Monroe that I found out, and Steve, you really should be here since, you love her, but, is the fact that, It just flew out of my head.
Oh, don't let it go away. Come back.
Yes, come back, because it was interesting. Maybe I have it here.
Who's laughing at us? LOL.
Oh, so she did say, who's laughing at us?
I could have been anybody, to be honest.
Oh.
I just see the little laughing faces come up.
Oh, okay, so I have no mind anymore. I've been all over the place today. I've been from one city to another, so forgive me. But she felt that it was just bad for her career. So you can find Playboys that have her on the cover, her later editions, but just know she did not actually post for them. Be wary, because I know there's not a lot of those out there, and that could very well be. And 4,500 just seems too low for me.
Yeah, and it says that the quality of the magazine is a 3.5.
Okay, but I do want you to understand that usually grading costs more than the magazine is worth, and so you're paying for that grading as well.
Grading, sure.
So, and then they seal it, and how do you know what's in the magazine? So be careful, because if you don't open it.
Do you want to give them the fun fact?
I'll give
I just
them the fun
learned it,
fact.
so I don't want to be incorrect.
I'll give him the fun fact. Okay, so back in the day, so that was my did you know moment with Marilyn. But back in the day, and I ran Warehouse Music. Am I taking too long?
No.
I ran Warehouse Music, and we had a bunch of magazines there. So when it was time to send back a magazine, because sometimes you don't sell everything, so the vendors send them back and say send them back. They do not. They used to tell us, don't send the whole magazine, rip the cover off, send back the, just send us back the cover. So if you come across magazines like this that have no cover or back, it's because what happened was, and this is a wrestling magazines, which were big in the 80s, they would have to rip the covers off and send those back and throw these in the trash.
Because then that means if someone found the magazine, it's practically worthless.
You can't resell it. You can't do much with it other than look at it because of that fact.
Steve in the comments just said that the photographer sold the same photos for calendars.
Yes.
How could you not get in trouble for that?
Because back then they had different laws.
But she's a woman.
Yes, but it doesn't matter. So were the housewives that were being,
I feel like they kind of
forced
looked at
to
that
be-
scenario like he paid you for the photos, he now owns the photos.
He does own the photos.
That's so mean.
What do you
that's
think?
so
That
mean.
it's the same today.
I know.
It's the same today. So be
like
be
you
very
said,
careful
right
what you
to
do
it.
with your photos. If you're going to pose nude for something, know where they're going.
For
because if you
sure.
have you ever seen the and now we're getting off track, but that's okay. That seems to be my thing today, because when I was in my MAD meeting, I kept taking off track. But if you ever watch Will and Grace,
Okay, which I have.
okay, there's a scene where they find that Karen did a porno movie.
Oh, what
Do you
season
remember
is
that?
this?
I don't remember the season. Where they found out she did a porno movie or a dominatrix movie.
Okay.
And so they found it, and she did it when she was young and needed money for school. And so everything comes back
To haunt her.
to haunt. So trust me, if you don't mind it, you're fine. But if you have any issue with it, don't do it. And that's the same for the internet, too.
Oh, yeah. Once you put it out there, it's out there forever.
Yeah, because you can delete everything. It's still there.
Oh, yeah. It has Trace's footprints.
Okay, can I?
Oh, of course. Please.
All right. So the rise, the fall of magazines,
Yes.
of printed ads. So some of these magazines that we're talking about are still in circulation. Some of them are not, and only available online, or if you request one, or they're gone completely.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and you are 100% right about the fact that we have moved to a digital era, not just for the fact that you can get any magazine you want online, because I'm going to tell you, everybody, I'll tell you a little secret. She had no idea what Fangoria magazine was.
And if you know me, like, you would not
And
believe
I'm not being mean by saying that.
Oh, no.
But because of the internet revolution,
that totally
those are gone.
something else took that spot.
Tales of the
you
Crypt
know?
magazine.
Dude, look, and I grew up on that, but I didn't know that it was a magazine. I thought
Yes.
it was just movies.
So, Fangoria magazine, which was the only way we knew what horror films were going to be coming out.
That's so cool.
I told her to look it up, and now she's like, "Oh, I want this copy, and I want
And
that
I'm on
copy."
eBay looking up certain copies for movies that I like.
So these are a clip in time. right?
Heck yeah.
So when you are shopping for when you're shopping for birthday gifts, when you're shopping for holiday gifts, when you're shopping for anything like that, by throwing a magazine or even a TV guide or something in from the year they were born,
it's nostalgic.
And not only is it nostalgic, it opens their eyes to what else happened the year they were born. So it's nostalgic to the parents or whoever, but to the kid or to the person getting it, looking at everything that happened during the year they were born, it can be, and not based on what somebody else is telling you.
No, for sure.
Based on the magazine.
You can really see it.
You can see it. And it's kind of cool.
Very cool.
So, 1440 magazine started with Johanna Gutenberg. I wonder if he's related to Gutenberg, to Steve Gutenberg. And I doubt it, though. Maybe somewhere way down there. But he created the printing press, and then boom, not only did newspapers start spreading around the world, but so did magazines. And they were all political based for the most part. They were all telling you what was going on with the world, with the town you lived in, with the crops, growth, stuff like that. Until 1963, when the German Post 1672, when the periodical of amusement came out and turned magazines from only news stories to amusement stories.
And new things that are coming out.
Right. And, Life magazine, which started 1883, New York City, 1883, it had a long life until 2000 when it died.
Boo-hoo.
Okay, so in the year 1883, Life magazine. Check these out. The big ones. Ooh, I love her. I'm backwards. Life magazine started 1883, probably not this big. But, and then it took its last breath in 2000. So 117 years it lived until the digital age hit. And it became, I know, look, he's got a cigarette in his mouth.
I keep looking.
Okay, so here's what's hilarious. This guy has a cigarette in his mouth
and it literally gives his whole government name, where he's at, and it says tastes great because the tobaccos are.
Right? Mm-hmm. And it probably says, so-and-so general or surgeon general, does it?
It says here, 21 great tobaccos make 20 wonderful Chesterfield Kings. Vintage tobaccos are grown, mild, aged mild, blended mild, and made to taste even milder through longer lengths. Taste great and smokes mild.
This is a 23-year-old reading this on the fact that this was written, and even though it doesn't say it on here, on this specific one, you will see 9 out of 10 doctors recommend on a lot of them. Chesterfield cigarettes, Lucille Ball was the face of Chesterfield cigarettes.
No way.
Yes, she was. So, something like this can really open the eyes of your kids, of your grandkids, because a lot of this you'll never see online.
No, literally.
You won't see cigarette ads online. You won't see, unless you hunt for them for like vintage signs and stuff like that. But looking through a magazine will tell your kids and your grandkids and people who are unaware of some of the way that we lived in the 80s and back on how we lived.
And also, speaking of that, which I love everything that you said because you brought up so many key points. Mm-hmm. The days, the times, how much this magazine was. And then when you flip in here and you look at a child who was born in the 70s, you could have been like, dude, like 5 years before you were born, a TV was only $120 and look how big it was. But you got to
remember, though, too, that $120 was probably an entire week's salary for the guy who was working.
Oh, no, for sure. For sure.
So it's all relative when you come to that. But magazines are a great way to teach. A great way to look back at our future, at our past, and teach those in our future about the past so they don't relive them.
Oh, yeah.
So some of the other ones. So Life magazine, born 1883, died 2000. Then we have, these are the ones that born and died, right? So there are some that were born and then no longer are physical and only live in the digital age. But like Mad magazine. Let's talk about Mad magazine, which is a big, popular magazine, right? Do you have them over there?
Heck yeah.
So Mad magazine was almost a large comic book in terms. It was, let me grab one.
And then tell them the prices on those.
So the Mad magazine So you have Mad Magazine, as you can see, right? And a lot of people love Mad Magazine, right? And this is 50 years of Mad, right? And this is $3.50 on this one. But this one is November 2002. So Mad took its last breath in 2019.
Dang.
It no longer makes printed magazines in 2019.
Dang.
So from 1952 to 2019, Mad Magazine. So then you have, and this was one way to do some great, like I said, it was a big comic book and it had jokes and it was fun. It was fun. And those of you.
Before 70?
Well, what was this one? This one is 79. And you know, magazines it's a cheap way to know the past. It's a cheap way to know what you're talking about. Look at these. This magazine articles that shows the dogs, your new dog, how to train him to maim and kill. Okay, so that's Mad Magazine because they're being funny.
Do you know what the most sought after Mad Magazine
Which one?
Cover is?
What's that?
We don't have it here because I've looked for it. It is literally a dog on the cover with a gun at it, and it says, "Buy this magazine or we'll shoot this dog." And it is the
That's
most popular.
Mad Magazine.
It is the most sought after. People are going crazy for this thing. If you look up the most popular Mad Magazine cover, it's that. But the only reason why I was asking if we had one before 1970 is because this is 73, and they're priced at 40 cents.
Right.
A year later, it says that they lowered their price to 50 cents.
Isn't that hilarious? A 1 year difference, and they lower the price using the that's Mad being satirical.
They're literally doing reverse psychology. This was 40 cents in 73.
Yeah. Dry humor.
Yeah, literally 2 years later, it is now 50 cents, but it says mainly here 50 cents cheap shot.
So that's Mad. National Lampoon, which I had a gentleman walk in and buy all of our National Lampoon. So National Lampoon is another Fisher Fowl. Another one that is similar to Mad Magazine when it talks about satirical comedy and dry humor and stuff like that. Mad Magazine had a shorter lifespan. Not Mad. National Lampoon had a shorter lifespan. Hey, Robert.
So, I don't know if you know, Jason, was National Lampoon's magazine and National Lampoon's movies made by the same person?
They're all National Lampoon. So there may be different directors. There may be different writers. But they're all part of National Lampoon.
Understood.
There is a documentary out that you can watch on Amazon Documentaries that talks about National Lampoon.
Oh, nice.
And how it's a club.
We'll have to watch that, David.
So the National Lampoon, however, 1970 it started, the year I was born, and died in 1998.
Dang, so it only had such a short life.
It did have a short lifespan.
Do you know why?
No, probably just ran out of money or did so. Who knows?
And also,
they do movies still.
National Lampoon had a very vast niche for community because, and I say vast niche because they had so many weird things, but it was like only if you know, you know.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it could be due to funds on putting out too, because such books as like which one was it? There's a couple of magazines that are still in circulation in Europe and other countries, but are not in circulation in the United States due to cost of printing.
Oh, dang.
So I'm not 100% sure on which ones. I had read it earlier, but some of the other ones that we got that are really good are High Times. You know, High Times, talking about the marijuana and cannabis culture with Janis Joplin on the cover. And, you know, I'm going to tell you, a lot of magazines their price and their popularity go based on who's on the cover.
Which I never knew or even thought to think about it that way.
Well, a lot of, like, our biggest buyer of Playboy today are young women. And they buy the Playboys because of who's on the cover, what they're wearing on the cover, the fashions that are inside, because, you know, they used the top fashions.
Back in the day, Jason taught me that it was more satire, comedy, and fashion based when I was looking through.
Oh yeah, you can read through them.
Yeah, like you can actually flip through a Playboy and not have to worry about a full frontal view on every other page.
No.
Whether it's like, I don't know, like how can I explain it? Like they might have gave Dorothy the whole center.
They move with time. So in other words, because our rating system got stronger, what we could and could not show got stronger and stuff like that. a full nude went down to just topless or so forth, something like that. But what I am going to show you is shrinkflation. Do we all know what shrinkflation is? So we should, because you pay the same amount for something, but you get less of the product. This is shrinkflation before it was a thing. This is a Playboy from 1960 or 67. A 1967 Playboy, right? Look at how thick that thing is, right?
And this is from 86.
This is a 1986 Playboy. Look at the size difference in those. Isn't that crazy?
Also, a very cool part is
and the
how they
heavy
were
difference.
printed.
Yes.
Like this, you could tell was one whole sheet printed that they folded and stapled
That they folded
together.
and stapled.
And the new versions are just single back and front pages that were glued into the spine of the book.
But I'm going to tell you, some of these Playboys have some of the most iconic
Oh yeah.
photos and stuff, like the nightclubs, the opening of the Playboy nightclubs in 67, and then Weekend Barrage, you've got your drinking. Look at this. It comes with it would come with a book on how to make drinks.
A
cocktail
That's
drink
sick.
thing. So, and then this one, I just have to show because I'm a fan. This is Dorothy Stratton.
Yeah, very pretty.
Dorothy Stratton on the cover. Dorothy Stratton, we all know who Dorothy Stratton is, right? Dorothy Stratton she died young because her husband shot her. She was a famous model who actually helped to create the Chippendales. But yes, unfortunately, she was shot in the face. So,
to touch base on the complete opposite spectrum of Playboy, if you couldn't afford Playboys because they were too expensive, or the type of women that were in that, you have Easy Riders.
But that was also your motorcycle and car person.
Oh
too.
yeah, for sure. I just personally, like, if you had to choose between one, I like Easy Rider. The women just look happier. They look more natural and chill.
They're more 70 driven.
Yeah, this is more like pose, super make upped and.
Well, this was for pretty. This was for let's get made up.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
These are the girls that rode the roads.
Yeah. Like, look at that. That's a really cool poster with just motorcycles.
So, some of these, that's what I wanted to tell you about the magazines. When you are looking for something that is for somebody, these magazines, don't think of them as, it's just more paper I have in my house.
Right.
You could take one of these magazines and use the insides to wrap
somebody's birthday
gift. You've got a perfectly good poster in there that they could put on their wall, especially if they're on Easy Rider. They do a lot with the motorcycles, like I said.
Oh yeah, it literally says
Harley,
for
stuff like
bikers.
that. Right. So if they like biking, there's some great posters in there.
Oh yeah.
And
advertising too.
Right. Grab bags are good, stuff like that. So use everything you have and to make somebody's gift giving or the receiving of gifts that much more special.
And exciting, because then they can sit there and read the wrapping.
Where's my paperwork? Oh. So some of the other ones I wanted to touch base on were so we talked about so one of the big ones a lot of people think that, are worth a lot of money are National Geographics. National Geographics, however, have been around forever, 1880 something or other. The very first funds that National Geographic received from selling their
set of photos?
No, not their photos, selling the magazines.
Oh.
They put out the first magazines. All the funds that they received for the first year, they used to fund expeditions, and that's what started the National Geographics across the world.
Because how do you expect them to travel and take all these beautiful photos and write all these beautiful documentaries?
But they didn't have the funds from like government expeditions and stuff like that, so they had to raise those themselves. And one of the fun facts about that, and then you can do your first, is the National Geographics was printed. It was all written for the first couple of years because they couldn't travel to take with all of the photography equipment. So the pictures in National Geographic didn't start coming out until the early 1900s.
When they actually could afford to
when they could afford to take them, which I thought was interesting. Yes, the whole outlet body pictures.
Hi, Abby. If
Hopefully we're being entertaining.
Yeah.
So what is your did you know?
Oh, okay. My first did you know is, did you know that J.K. Rowling got rejected about 12 times from very high-powered publishers before Harry Potter even became a thing? And the specific Harry Potter that did get rejected 12 times was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
And I'm going to tell you that Harry Potter. Can I
Please
add
do.
to
Yeah,
it?
please do.
So Harry Potter was turned down by all the big names.
Yeah,
and
literally.
it was a small independent one that picked up the Philosopher's Stone. Yep.
Bloomsburg, or
And I'm going to tell you that today they're not small, and it's all due to her. She also wrote her entire first book while she was on welfare,
sitting in a coffee shop. Can't believe that. Jason was also telling me about that, and I couldn't even believe that earlier.
So, the fun facts that you find out when it comes to, well, thank you, Abby. The fun facts you get when you come to stuff like that. So, what was my other did you know? I lost it. We were talking about it, and I said, I'll do that as a did you know. I swear, today has been crazy.
My brain can't remember.
I know
either.
it's gone off my head. So, anyways, magazines, there are billions of magazines, right?
Literally.
Billions of different kinds. And I'm not kidding when I say that many, because there is a magazine for every single thing in the world. From good old days to trains to anything, like cars, motorcycles. You name it, there's a magazine for it. And I think we over-magazined ourselves. And now we've killed off forests right and left. So,
because now everything's already written about.
And I'm not 100% sad over the fact that a lot of them went online, but it makes me wonder what's going to happen if we lose power, what we're going to look at.
See, thank you for bringing that up, because I knew that it was called the Sorcerer's Stone, but when I was reading that fun fact, it was named Philosopher's Stone.
The Philosopher's Stone, I think, was the original name?
Yeah, and then they changed it to
Sorcerer's Stone. But if you look, sometimes they can alter names depending on where it's published.
Oh.
And they'll alter names slightly depending on where it's published.
Sure.
Now, I don't know if the Philosopher's Stone was the Philosopher's Stone in Europe, but she is from Europe, so it's highly possible that it may have been published as the Philosopher's Stone originally, and then when picked up nationally, it changed it to the Sorcerer's Stone.
Dang.
It's not. I would not put it past people to tell her, it won't go over well in America. You need to change the name. We've all seen that happen. So, anyway, some of the other magazines, Time Magazine.
I literally just...
Okay, can you grab me one?
Yep.
So, we're going to talk about Time Magazine. Time Magazine, we all thought was been around forever, like Life Magazine, and it hasn't.
This one has the bookmark in it.
Okay, perfect. So, Time Magazine, Time. 1923. It came out the same time as Better Homes and Gardens. Time Magazine, right? Not this one, but Time Magazine. And I had to put this in it to save a spot.
Because wait till after my Saratoga.
Yeah, because Saratoga is in here. But I love it because what is this? Enjoy smoking longer without smoking more. So rich, full flavor. Is this what? Wait till I finish my Saratoga. Oh, look, they're on a smoking break. And all the pies fell.
And the joke is that
Look.
Saratoga... LOL. So, equivalency to a Saratoga now in 2023 is an American Spirit. That's like the ploy that they're trying to go for, is that you can smoke you can smoke for longer without smoking more tobacco. And that's why a Saratoga is like this long.
Yes, there's a few of them that are that long. I quit smoking 13 years ago, 12 years ago. And I smoked Marlboros, of course, because of Marlboro Man. Not because of him, but because that's what I did. But smoking's not good.
No, it's horrible. It stinks.
But anyways, and it's on the cover of this, too.
I know. Isn't that
So,
crazy?
Time Magazine, Life Magazine. Well, let's talk Time Magazine, Newsweek Magazine, stuff like that. That is all based on culture. Not culture, but news, politics, news, what's going on in the world. Then, which was how magazines were done first.
Uh-huh.
And early magazines, some early magazines, they wouldn't charge for those magazines. Some of the news-driven magazines, they wouldn't charge for a lot of them because from what I found, now starting in like the 40s or whatever, or the 20s, certain magazines started charging, right? But the people who advertised in the magazines were very, very controlling over what these magazines could and could not do, because they were providing the advertisements and the advertisement dollars to the magazine. So some of the magazine companies came out and said,
it's not coming up on my end.
Uh-oh.
Tap it again. Tap it twice. There you go.
Hi, everybody, again. I don't know what to do.
It's okay.
What was it?
I think it's just Gabby, but it looks like someone said something. I just can't
Is
see it.
watching. So, anyways,
Thanks, Gabby.
so there were a few news magazines and new, not entertainment magazines from the late 1800s to early 1900s. Some of them didn't charge because the advertisements were very strict on telling them, I don't want my readers to pay you. I want them to buy what I'm putting in your magazine. That's why I pay you.
Yes.
So certain magazines were free back then.
Which I feel like they should be, because it's all pure advertisement.
Well, hey, we live in a greedy world.
Ah, yeah, very true.
You know, I went to the vet. Steve went to the vet today, and we live in a very greedy world.
Poor kitties.
Yes. But anyways, so magazine, I just look like I'm, and you know what, magazines are good to pretend that you're doing something.
I feel like magazines are for people who wanted to read the newspaper, but just had more time on their hands.
Well, yes. And I like magazines because if I don't want to talk to people, in my face they go.
So earlier, you brought up a fact about, when was the first magazine?
Which one? The
Global.
The very first, 1440 was when the printing press started.
Okay.
1663, poet and theologist Johann Rist created a periodical called Edifying Monthly Discussions, which was considered the first.
But this was global, right?
Well, this was Europe.
Okay.
Germany.
Okay. So keep that in the back of your brain, guys, because the first American magazine was said to have published in 1741 by Andrew Bradford and Benjamin Franklin. They were riveting printers in Philly, but they both folded within the span of 6 months. And by the end of the 18th century, there was already over 100 magazines that were already kicking their butt out of the water to begin with.
One of the interesting facts about that is that in the 1700s, human thirst for knowledge
was just
constant. So magazines, newspapers just started to explode in popularity because of the fact that
lots of people are watching.
Okay. Because of the fact that our thirst for knowledge was so intense.
And I feel like certain things you could get in magazines like that. Do you feel like TV or magazines were first advertising? Like, let's just say a new TV was coming out.
TVs only came out in 1950.
Yeah, but
magazines came out in 1800.
Right, but do you feel like when TVs came out, do you feel like magazines were still taking the toll?
Oh, yes.
Advertising?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, because there were only 3 channels.
Right. Okay.
2 or 3 channels.
Yeah, answers my question.
Okay, so TV didn't overcome magazine or newspaper advertising until probably the 70s.
Okay.
It could even be the late 60s. But once we started getting 1,000 channels, magazines had no chance.
Yeah, because then everything could be advertised.
But really, you can go the same way when it talks television to internet.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Our thirst for knowledge as humans is insatiable.
Because when you're watching a movie and you see that actor and you're like, well, now I just have to look up every movie they've ever been in.
So we went from going crazy with magazines, and those of you who are dealing with estate sales, estates that need to be liquidated, or going through your parents' house, there's magazines everywhere, right? Because our thirst for knowledge and collecting.
Yep.
And owning and hoarding.
And seeing new things.
So I look at the internet the same way. The human thirst for knowledge is insatiable. It's never, ever ending. Or never, ever ending. So that's why the internet exploded so much, because it gave knowledge to our fingertips.
Oh, yeah, fast, too.
Right. It also gave the anonymity of a keyboard, which I wish they could find a way to get rid of.
All right.
What else you got?
All right. So we got about 12 minutes left.
Yep.
So earlier we talked about Fangoria. To put another magazine in the same kind of topic of Fangoria are creepy and eerie magazines.
Yes, good. 50s,
Creepy and eerie
60s, yes.
So
and Vampirella, but I'm out of it.
Yeah, we sold her, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with creepy first. And Creepy was an American horror launched by Warren Publishing in 1964.
Warren Magazine.
There's a total of 145 issues ever published by Creepy.
This is number 26. It's written right there.
And in late 1964 was when it was born, and it unfortunately took its last breath. Correction. It ended in 1983, and then it was rebirthed in 2009 all the way to 2016, and that was it. They're not picking it up anymore.
I didn't know it was rebirthed. This is 1968.
Dang.
Okay, this is 1968.
Look at that
Creepy
back.
Magazine.
That beautiful
Okay,
mask.
so this right here
Is
is
sick.
Universal
Monsters.
Monsters. This is the creme de la creme. I would love to have every one of these sitting up there.
Just like chilling up on the wall.
Right?
So now we're going to talk about Creepy's twin brother, which is going to be Eerie Magazine. So shortly after the birth of Creepy
Eerie.
Mag, so 1966 was still published, Eerie was still published by Warren Publishing, but in 1966, there's a total of 139 issues.
Okay, 1 second. I'm going to show them something.
Oh, thank you, Siri.
Sorry. This one is, let me find the year. Hold on. This one is, all right, go on while I find the year.
Oh, okay. So in Eerie Mag, there's only 5 less totals of issues. So we have 139 total issues for Eerie. And then their birth time was early 1966 and unfortunately took its last breath in February of 1983.
Okay, what year is that, Creepy?
77.
Okay, can I have it?
Yep.
All right. So, Creepy Magazine. Creepy Magazine, right? See it? Right here? This one was 1967, right? And this one cost 40 cents. 40 cents in 1967, right? Wait. Oh, right here. 40 cents. Okay.
We're backwards.
This one is Creepy 1977, 10 years later. This one is $1.25. So, it wasn't just today that things are climbing.
How much was the Eerie?
The Eerie, which is in 1975, 1 year prior to the second one, is $1.
So here's a cool fact about Eerie.
$1.
That was not pertaining to Creepies. Creepies, this did not happen
No,
to. What I'm going to say. So Eerie's, they were originally black and white comics. They weren't.
Yeah,
They're not colors. They were made.
Yeah.
Yep, they were made for newsstands. But since they didn't send their original prototype in to the comic book industry, they didn't make it. So it was originally supposed to be sold like. Yeah, that's sick.
Uncle Creepy and Cousin Eerie. Uncle Creepy. Wait, where is it? Uncle Creepy and Cousin Eerie. How fun. And then what are these over here? Here we have both mask casts from same mold. Only one is vinyl, one is rubber. That is so creepy. I love it.
So it's like
and
a
you could
one-of-one
order
mask.
these. You could order them.
Yeah.
See?
Those are sick.
And you could order them.
And
So
ugly.
how fun is this? And that's how you got a lot of the stuff that's available in vintage and antique stores today, is ordering them out of the back of catalogs.
Literally.
Yeah, some of them are really creepy for 67.
A lot of these are really cool.
So, and then you have stuff like this, the mystery, the Hitchcock mystery. And I'm showing you this because they are redoing the Hitchcocks. And so they'll be on TV, so you'll be able to see them. And these were just stories of, I don't know, are these? The distinguished lineup from Alfred Hitchcock. So these are mystery magazines. So there are magazines for everything.
So, do you feel like when they started, like, is that a mystery it has a storyline in it?
Oh yeah, this has a storyline in it.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, and this one's 1980. They're $1.25. Now we all know that the Alfred Hitchcock was the 60s, 70s. So these came out later, after. But how cool is that? This is great. You take it to the beach, you read it, because Fate magazine, I know.
We didn't talk about that
Yeah.
one.
So you know what else these are good for? And I know we take our tablets and everything everywhere, right?
Yeah.
But if you're laying on the beach or you're on a cruise and you're by the pool, and I would rather drop this
In the water.
$2 magazine in the water than my
$200 iPad.
200.
Well, if you have a mini or an old one.
Even the minis are 200. It's so funny. I love that. Because I just looked at a mini because I need a new one.
So you're like, I
the minis
know.
were $4.75 or something like that.
Dang.
But it's funny. So this is a good way if you're reading in the bathtub. If you read, and trust me, I've dropped my tablet in the bathtub.
Oh, Christ.
So these are ways of not having to repay or rebuy something that cost $1,000. Is you can read it as easily in a book or magazine format. And sometimes they're fun to look at because you get a lot more than just what. Because if you look up something online, you see just that.
Yeah.
You don't see the pages and pages that lead up to that, and you get to see all the cool advertising.
Like, look at how cute the cover of this Good Old Days mag is.
I know. Is that a...
She's getting them bundled up.
So this magazine of happy memories. So that's what this store is. When you come into Time Warp, it's happy memories.
And we love when people say, oh my gosh, it's like taking us back through a time warp. Duh, it's in the name.
Polly and her pals. And plus, you get to know the different movie stars and stuff, which is pretty cool.
And this is 1980.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look at this newer one. This is from 2002.
2002.
Like just the font.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this really was giving Good Old Day vibes. This is feeling like they're trying to give Good Old Day vibes when they should have just left it.
If you look, you go from this one's 1980, this one's 2000 and what? 2002. Oh. 2002. So we go from making it fun, but this is also cost.
True.
Because when you're dealing in cost, it's easier. It's cheaper for the magazine companies to do 5,000 of them with that type.
It's using less ink. It's less space. I for sure get it.
You know, but see, that's where it runs into an issue in my mind.
Yeah, because
you're taking away the
vibe, the aesthetic,
the
feel,
the whole feel of it to make it more
modern. And then that's why, like magazines are a good reason. Like this is perfect because then you might have people who are diehards for the covers who look like this, and the minute they switched it up to this, they probably lost hundreds of thousands of monthly subscribers just because of that.
Plus, I'm telling you, a lot of people who have to do essays, stuff like that, when it comes to their college degree, and I've seen where professors are telling them that yes, you can use your tablet, but they want to see hard work done as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Which means that you have to have the footnotes, you have to do the research and stuff like
that.
Plagiarism
is so easy now, Jason.
Doing and listen, we're not getting into the AI stuff. I know the Good Old Days are awesome. We have tons of them too, and they're cheap as can be.
Is that Abby?
Yeah, they're cheap as can be, I think. Yeah. So, I mean, they're great add-ons to when you're doing a nice gift from the year they were born because it will tell you everything. But when you guys are when you have to do research papers, when you have to do stuff like that, and you grab all the information you can from not just online, but from books as well, check out the old magazines because you've got Italian's Army Chief. And this is 1940. This Life is 1940. Okay, and this Life has 10 cents on it.
Dang. And for look how much paper that is. I know.
And then this one is, I don't know how to say that, Paoli. Anyways, another general. Palu. So, and it will tell you, look at this. It shows all the different wartime and the funerals and stuff like that. So you can get a lot of research material done in these. So, think about that.
Made. You can take them out and make posters.
Yep.
There's literally the possibilities are endless.
So we carry a lot of them. Come in, take a look. Tell us your birth year. We'll help you find the different things that you're looking for.
I'm the nerd who organizes all the magazines by month and year. So if you're looking for a specific one, let me know.
Until somebody destroys them. So anyways, thank you guys so much. And it was a whirlwind. So I hope we weren't too overly talking today.
But we have to give them our normal spiel like we
do
every Tuesday.
And then we'll talk about the 28th again.
Oh, yes. So before we let you guys go, like, comment, subscribe, and let us know what your favorite magazine was down in the comments. If you grew up with Tiger Beat, or maybe your favorite was The Reader's Digest, or maybe your grandma has every single issue of the Good Old Days. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, because it'd be neat to, and if there's magazines that you're looking for from back in the day and you haven't seen them here, ask us. We might carry them, or we will get them.
There's just so many, we couldn't bring them all up.
No. And remember, on the 28th, we have a panel of fabulous women who are going to be joining me and Jasmine to talk about the women that inspired them and inspired you. And I'm even picking a woman to talk about that inspired us to inspired women to use their voice, to use everything there is to become who they are today.
And I'm so excited for this.
I
This
am
is
too.
Like,
I am too. And next week, actually next week, towards the middle of the week, I will reveal our guests.
Oh, yes.
Once I speak to all of them to double check and make sure and verify.
yes.
We got some great ones. We're going to be talking about a fabulous woman who was born and raised in Monaco, who came to America and, you know, became had the most beautiful family, and it's just awesome person. We're going to be talking about the women of Argentina who helped to protect the children of Argentina. We're going to be talking about some fabulous, beautiful movie stars, Katharine Hepburn, stuff like that.
Super excited.
And then the rest will be revealed as we go.
The rest is history.
So,
it's gonna be like The View, but at nighttime. So
Yep.
like, bring a glass of wine with you to the phone or something.
and I'm going to tell you right now, this could be somebody who was a president, or a president of a country, because we're the only country that hasn't had a female president. No, I'm sure there's others, but it could be somebody who from somebody who was big in superstar to somebody who was my mom or my grandmother.
And it doesn't matter because they all
Because it's
had,
who inspired them.
period.
Because it is Women's Month and Women's History Month, and we're going to talk about the women
Shed some
that
light on
made
that.
us who we are.
Yeah. And I'm really excited for this. Like, our topics are just going to be so powerful and just, like, so knowledgeable.
I tell you what I should have done. Is I should have had a bunch of men here, too, to tell me what women inspired them.
I mean, hey, dude, we still might be able to...
We still might be able to do that because we know that, women inspire women.
Sure.
We know that happens.
But I know that there's some men
But
out there.
there are women that inspired me. There are men that inspired me. There are women that inspired me. So we need to celebrate the women regardless of what sex we are.
Period.
You know what I
in the
mean?
comments, say
Because
period.
I'm sorry, every single one of us was born from a woman.
Period. Without us, y'all wouldn't be here.
Yes. So anyways, keep up, follow us, and thank you so much for coming on.
Heck yeah, this was a really fun one.
I liked
this
it.
one.
There's a lot to know about magazines, a lot more than I thought.
And don't be
So,
afraid. Give us a call or come on in. Let us know if you have any
This will be on
questions.
YouTube in the morning. Also, if you guys have any ideas for the shows,
Oh, yeah, let us know.
If you want to be a guest, let us know.
Because to be honest, Jason and I are getting kind of stumped.
Well, I'll always come up with something. So we'll get creative, trust me. This show will be going on, and it's getting larger and larger. I love it.
Woohoo!
So, you're coming in tomorrow for sure. Well, I hope so. It'll be fun. Anyways, thank you guys. Have a great night. This will be on YouTube tomorrow.
Bye.